All right, folks, so this is going to be a super quick video to show you how to host a static website on an Amazon S3 bucket. So I'm going to speed through this because on the website that you should be viewing this video on, awspowertools.com, you will find a lot of screenshots and step-by-step instructions too. So if you're watching this on YouTube and you find it a little hard to follow along with the video, remember that you can always go over to awspowertools.com and the instructions and links, all that kind of stuff is there for you. So let's get to it. This is part of a series that will show you better ways of doing this, but before you get into all of the more complex methods of hosting static websites, the very simplest way to do this is to create an S3 bucket and drop your files in there. So here's how you do that. So in the AWS console, I'm signed in, and basically to get to this point, all I did was under services, I went to S3, and that takes you into the Amazon S3 buckets page. So you can see I currently have 0 buckets set up in here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a bucket, and now the bucket needs to have the name of whatever the website is that you plan on hosting here. So my plan is to host test.binaryfocus.com, meaning that people will go to http://test.binaryfocus.com. So if we go to, let's do this. So if we go to test.binaryfocus.com, and I'm going to set up in the northeast region. So that's all we need to do over here. We hit next. You can leave this all as defaults, and the big difference that you want here is, first of all, you want to change this to grant read access to this bucket. So that makes sense. Since you're hosting a public website, you're going to need people to be able to read that website. So this is the only thing that you should change when you're creating your bucket. You hit create bucket, and ta-da! You now have a bucket. So the next thing to do is, now there is something that catches a lot of people, which it's really stupid, but so there's when you click on the right hand side of this UI, you get this properties dialog. When you click on the link itself, it takes you into the bucket. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to so many things are popping up. So the first thing we want to do is we want to set the properties of this bucket to, and you'll see that when you click into the properties, you have the static web hosting option here. Click on that, and you say, I want to use this bucket for a static website. We're going to say, we're going to index.html and error.html are going to be the default pages that we want to use, and boom, that's all we needed to do to get our bucket ready to host a website. Now I have an index file that I've already created, which is very simple. I'm going to drag and drop that index file into the bucket and say, so I'm going to say next. And for this file, obviously, I'm going to say grant read permissions to it, because again, it's the index file that we're expecting the world to be able to see. So it makes sense that it should have read permissions. Hit next, and we can just leave all the rest as default. So upload. And now I have an index file in a bucket. So just to recap, I have a bucket which is called test.binaryfocus.com, and I have in that bucket my index file. So the next thing, So, and we can actually, before we even get to the full domain name setup for this thing, if we go to the properties for this website, somewhere in here, it actually tells us the URL of this bucket. Anyway, that's not important right now. So let's head over to our domain name. So if you don't know already, Route 53 is the service within AWS that that hosts your domain names. So if we go into the binary focus domain name, I'm going to create a record, and I'm going to call it test.binaryfocus.com. That's the website, the name of the bucket that I created also. And very important is that down here where it says alias, I'm going to switch that to yes. Now you'll see that in the alias list, underneath the S3 websites endpoint, I actually have this test binary focus bucket that is available for me to select here. I select that, hit create, and now you can see that I have created a record inside binaryfocus.com, and it is aliased to the URL of that S3 bucket. So if we open up a new tab and we go to test.binaryfocus.com, ta-da! Welcome to my test website. So it's really as simple as that. You create a bucket, make sure your files have the right permissions, make sure your bucket is named the same as the domain that you are planning on pointing to it, and turn on static file hosting, and away you go.